Hey gamers, today we're going to look at the Great Heartland Hauling Company. Let's check it out. To set for the game, each player is going to get a little player aid here. They're going to get a little truck. They're going to start by putting this little brown cube here on the 5 spot because everyone starts with $5. They have their own little truck here that they can load goods onto. Of course, as you see, they can only load up to 8 goods there. Their little truck starts right here in West Morgan. That's where they're going to be driving out to any of these areas. And you're going to put the color cubes associated with the main resource that's in that area. And of course, you can shuffle these cards any way you want. They're also double-sided too for a more advanced game. I'm just showing you the base game here. You're also going to dole out 5 cards to each player and then have a stack of cards and deal out 3 like so. Now in this game, the first action you have to do is you have to move by either paying fuel cards or cash. You cannot do a mix of both. So for instance, in my hand, I have 2 fuel cards. If I want to move, you move up to 3 spaces. I could play both of these to move 3 spaces, but what I couldn't do is pay one of these and then pay an extra $1. I couldn't mix and match. It has to be one or the other, dollars or gas. And even if you played a 2, let's say this is all I had, I only want to move 1 space, I could just move 1 space, I would just lose this card. You may never move diagonal, only orthogonally, and you're just moving from one town to the next. And then after that, you get to load, unload, or discard. Loading. Let's go with this one. Let's say I'm an orange player. I play my gas card here for 1, and let's say I play him for 2 actually. Play him for 2, and I move him 1, 2 down here to Fort Lee. Why? Because I want to get some of them soybeans. So I play this card here, and I get to pick up 1 soybean and put it into my little area there. So that's my turn. On my next turn, maybe I pay one of these. Oh, well, on my next turn, what I do after that is I refuel. I draw up to 5 cards. So I have, well, 4 left. I should have had just 1 left, but let's say I had 3 left. Then I could get 2 cards. Well, I can pick from any of these cards here or pick from the top of the deck. So you know what? I kind of want this one and this one. All right, so now it comes out like this and that. Now, to be honest, when I was there, I could have played an extra one, and I probably would have, to get 2 soybeans there. And I can play as many as I want to pick up those tokens. So on my next turn, comes back around to me again, I have to move. I cannot stay here and pick up more soybeans. Even though I got a card last time, I can't use it this time. So I pay 1, move over here to Bedford Falls, and pay 1 soybean. If I had 2 soybeans, I could unload them both, but to unload, I would have to pay this card and then unload it here. Now, if you see on these cards, it'll tell you how much they pay for resources, and they pay $3 for soybeans. Okay, where over here, I could turn around and sell these back to Fort Lee for only 2. Or up here, I really should have gone to Flint, really, because they were paying 4 for soybeans. So basically, it's wherever you can move and where you think you can make the most money. When you sell it, you'll move up on the money counter there. Of course, and then I'd load back up. Now, the last thing I could have done when I moved, instead of loading and unloading, I could discard. If there's cards in your hand you just don't want, you want to get rid of them to get new handed cards. For every card you discard, you have to pay $1, but it does let you draw up to new cards at the end of that round. So basically that's what you're doing, is picking up, delivering, loading, and unloading. Now if ever you want to pick up an area where, let's say I want to go here, and you can't go where another truck is, but let's say another truck wasn't there, and later on someone wanted to pick up the soybean and sell it somewhere else. Well, since that is not the main resource of this area, they're going to have to pay 2 soybean cards to pick this up. So it kind of gets harder after all the main goods are delivered to pick up things and resell them again. Now, and it depends on how many players you're playing, but in a It just tells you how many players, 2, 3, and 4 player game. You have to go to these little areas. Of course, whoever has the most money would win, but at the end of the game, whoever gets to that point, they may not win the game. However much goods they have in their truck still will count as minus points. If you look at this Wes Morgan card at the end of the game, any leftover stock will get penalties for however many cubes you have in there. So even though you got to whatever number you're playing to, but unfortunately, because you had too much in your truck, you lost too many points, and you can definitely lose this game even though you finished first. There are some variants in the game. One of the variants is if you flip all these cards over, the game can get a little bit harder. Like for instance, this dollar means a toll bridge, so you have to pay an extra $1 when you move there. This cube is a way station, so is here. So if someone moved on this area or moved this down area on Jericho, for everything above 4 cubes, they'd have to pay an extra $1. Then you have things like roadblocks. Roadblocks means you can't move this way. The only way into this town is through one of the way stations here. Okay, so those are kind of the advanced way to play the game. You'd flip over those cards and mix them up again. Another great expansion is this one. It's the truck stop expansion. Basically what you're doing is you're dealing out these +2, the amount of players +2 on the board, and the player who goes there can pay the cost associated at the top of this card, and then they'll get that special ability every time. Like for instance, this guy, if you have this, you have GPS. You can move diagonal now, which is really cool. So you can only buy one of these per game, and everyone will eventually get one, but this is another great expansion in the game. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Wow. This box, I mean, it is packed to the gills and it perfectly fits in, but there is not a single space for air to breathe in here. Talk about using the extend of your box. I hate board games that have these big old boxes and not enough content. They got the size exactly right. I mean, you have to smooth over those cubes and make sure everything fits in here, but I love it. It's kind of hefty too. Great game, big game, little box. Absolutely love it. If you're looking for save space on your game shelf and you want something that's easy and fun, this is great. Great pick 'em and deliver game. I've never played with the advanced version where you have toll roads, way stations, and roadblocks. That just sounds more aggravating, although maybe one day I should play it. But the other expansion where you can buy those special items and have that one special ability throughout the game, really great. Does kind of change the game a little bit because you want to go out to those areas and get those things first because it's first come first serve and you only get one. But I love this game. I love this game because a lot of the times when you hit that number, you don't want to hit that number with a truckload of goods because you could get a lot of minus points. In fact, sometimes I have paid money, and other players have too. We paid money. We had gas cards, but we didn't want to do that. We wanted to pay money so that we wouldn't hit that goal because we wanted to sell off a few more things to not get those negative points. And oh man, the theme, I love the theme of this too. There's a friend of mine on BGG who actually sends me his recommendations, and he has a high batting average with me, man. Most of the games he sends me are really good, and this is one that he suggested, and I'm really glad he did because I've been looking at it on and off, but he convinced me to go for it, and it's just a great game. It's super cheap if you can find it. I think it's like 15 bucks, even 20 bucks. It's actually really worth it because, like I said, a lot of game in a small box. Absolutely fun. Heartland Hall and Company. Check it out. All right, gamers, that's all the time for now, but until next time, you know what to do. Game on.